Welcome to BizTechs Technology Show. Today's show is about a familiar name in a not so familiar space. Volvo is a brand name that is synonymous with cars from Sweden that are quality, safe, and in recent years, quite exciting as well. But many outside the business world don't realize that it's also synonymous with quality trucks. Now, Volvo Trucks supplies complete transport solutions with a full range of medium and heavy-duty trucks via a global network of dealers in 2,300 service points in over 130 countries. But now it's full speed ahead with electric vehicles. Now, to tell us more about this, we've got Johan Selvén. He's the VP of Sales and Marketing for Volvo Trucks International, and Anthony O'Connell. He's the Managing Director for Volvo Trucks Malaysia. Now, gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. Great to be here.
Thank you very much, Brian. Feels great.
Johan, for a start, could you give us an overview of Volvo Trucks and its history?
Yeah, Volvo Trucks, part of AB Volvo, the Volvo Group. I mean, we are a big and global player into commercial transports. Besides Volvo Trucks, we're also operating with buses, construction machines, industrial and marine engines, financial services, and so on for our services. And Volvo Trucks, we have a global presence. We sell and deliver trucks in more than 140 countries around the globe. And in this part of the world, in Asia, we have a strong foothold since many years, also in Malaysia then with the local production and the own market company. But we are also looking at expanding our presence here and in further parts of the Asian markets, Oceania as well, and now as well introducing our electric product program. So we are really with high excitement looking forward to the times ahead.
Now, Tony, I want to move on to you. You're from Volvo Australia. You've been the managing director here since early 2021. Give us a snapshot of the Malaysian business and where you see the growth and opportunities.
Yeah, look, it's. I think every market has its own unique opportunities and also challenges. But you know, there's certainly the Asian business and the Malaysian business there's huge opportunity for efficiency gains, huge opportunity for productivity gains, certainly for our customers. And I think that's where we're really focused now on, you know, how do we really bring the right product into the country to really suit what the customers' not only current needs are, but maybe future needs for the logistics and transport segment. And obviously with now the push, Malaysia's signed up for net zero 2050. So, you know, there's a real commitment in this area and this region to really be sustainable and decarbonize the transportation segment. So that fits hand in hand where we can look at new opportunities and how we can work together with this market. And that, I think, is very similar to where the Australian market is too. I mean, Australia's on a very similar market. So it's really been a positive impact to come to Malaysia and see such a fantastic intent to drive sustainability and a better world for everyone in the future.
Now, I want to talk to Johan now really about sustainability in greater depth, because Sweden, of course, was ahead of the curve in terms of this whole sustainability movement. Now, Johan, tell us about Volvo and its development of EV solutions globally, and how you're making a positive impact to reducing your carbon footprint.
I mean, first of all, you could say our strategy today, or the most important part of the strategy, is the transformation journey that we're doing. We are fully committed and tied up to the Paris Agreement and basically to reach net zero by 2050. And already now we have very high ambitions to cut our footprint of CO2 until 2030, starting in 2019 by 50% and even by 100% by 2040, in order for our whole population to reach that by 2050. I mean, we are talking about a transition which is the biggest step for the transport industry since probably we left the horses behind us, you know. But then again, it's not a matter of choice. I mean, we must evolve the technology and the transport solutions in this way. I mean, to stand fast and to really secure and safeguard our business, and maybe the most important, a planet for the years ahead that we can, in a trustworthy way, leave over to our kids and so on. It's not only something we talk about, but really that we are fully committed in driving that path. So now basically our product development, I mean, which is bigger and higher than ever before, goes into securing optimized and productive solutions for our customers, of course, but taking and consuming considerably less CO2 or exhausting considerably less CO2 as we move ahead. So really big part, an important part of the strategy.
Now, I want to ask you in terms of the technological advantages here. With your new EV models that have come out, what are the sort of savings or efficiency gains or emission reductions that you can see compared to conventional vehicles?
A fully electric truck, it has an exhaust which is a zero exhaust vehicle, obviously. Then again, it's important what the energy is produced from. I mean, if it's call it a pure gray or black energy source, so to speak, then the absolute gain is not as big, even though the exhaust is a lot less than a traditional diesel engine, for instance. But we, and as well, you should say, of course, the production of the batteries as such, as well as the recycling of it, is also other aspects. But we are very determined to choose a complete cycle aspect to this, to secure that where we get the minerals from to produce batteries, all the ways to recycling, as well as the energy source also should be utilized in a green way. Then we fully understand it's a transition, it will take some time, but having that obligation to have a circular mindset on this is absolutely crucial to gain all the way and the trustworthiness.
Now, Tony, I want to zoom in on the Malaysian market and its unique challenges. So you've got everything from, it's a very complex market. You've got high-end, high-quality players like yourself. You've also got the rebuild truck markets. You've got the entry of Chinese players now into the market. Give us a sense of the challenges that Volvo Trucks has been facing and how you basically differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
Yeah, look, it is a complex market, and there's a lot of different, I guess, supply chains in the market. But I think the one thing that is uniting the market here in Malaysia now is how do we come together to really take these challenges off the table and make them into opportunities. I think the biggest complexity that we see in the market here in Malaysia in particular is, for all the right reasons, there's subsidy for diesel fuel in this country, but it's still a subsidy for fossil. And there's a lot of collaboration, a lot of discussion now happening as to, you know, how can we see equal incentives now in driving green technology in this country and making it, you know, more sustainable future, and what are the different technologies we can work with? I mean, EV is not going to be right for every segment, so we need to take it on a segment by segment base. We have other technologies that are available that will actually reduce CO2 emission. They will reduce soot and particulates, which is really important from a health and the health of Malaysians as well. So, you know, there's Malaysia moves to a Euro 4 position April 1st next year. We will go directly to Euro 5 standards and then beyond that in the future. So that will help with a CO2 reduction. And I think it's each one of these steps that takes away these challenges and really pushes us towards that common goal. And, you know, there is complexity, there is multiple sources here, but what we are seeing is by working together and collaborating, whether that be with the authorities, with our customers, and working united towards this common goal, we're actually overcoming a lot of these challenges along the way.
Now, Johan, then after listening to Tony giving us the Malaysian perspective, does this mirror the challenges for Volvo Trucks from a global perspective?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's face it, we are in many senses creating a market. Also, we are early out from Volvo Trucks. I mean, we have series produced electric trucks since 2019. Last year, we launched on the heavy duty range. We have delivered more than 4,300 heavy or electric trucks now around. But the big footholds are in Europe and the US right now, and quite a small part of the total volumes, of course. But wherever you go, this is a collaboration between us, the authorities, the state, as well customers and transport buyers. Transition and quick transition to fully sustainable has a price for everyone, and we need to work with that together to do it as quick as we actually need here. And certain stimulations, as Tony said, coming from fossil diesel or whatever it is into pure green ones are needed to make charging infrastructure available, to even make the initial investment, as the technology today is a bit more expensive than traditional technology. So support from the states are needed. Incentives that are available in many countries, for instance, in Europe and the US today, which gives our customers the opportunity and the trust actually to dare to move into this technology, even though it's early out and all the prerequisites are not in place. So it's a big collaboration and joint efforts needed in every country, I would say.
Now, Tony, I want to ask you, what's market interest like towards the launch of your fully electric prime mover in Malaysia? Because one of the things that Johan just mentioned is very applicable to Malaysia, which is basically the charging infrastructure is not in place fully yet.
Yeah, look, that's certainly one of the challenges. And I think if I go back, the collaboration again is really important. And this is why, within Volvo Malaysia, we're working closely with Plus Highways, which are one of the largest road providers here in Malaysia. And we're working very closely on future infrastructure for heavy commercial vehicles. I think the infrastructure is advancing quite well for electric cars as such. But, it's sometimes the challenges that are faced with that. And just to give you one example of that is, with all the great and correct intent, when we put electric charging, DC charging stations in around Malaysia, we basically put an awning over the top of them that are at 3 meters of height. It's a little bit hard to get a prime mover under such a low awning height. So these are the things that we're working with now, real world problems that we're working closely with, the infrastructure providers and really, taking these challenges away. So I think, that will advance over time. Infrastructure as such, I mean, if we look at the interest we've had, it's very, very promising, the interest we've had. Our customers also agree that we need to focus on the segments that make sense for electric trucks. We can't basically do it all at once. And there is a lot of segments in our customers' daily operations where we can see that we can convert to electric, and they are the easy pickings. And for a country like Malaysia, where there's a lot of container movement from the port to manufacturing, which is normally very short shifts, very quick and easy. And if you compare that, for example, a diesel truck, when it's sitting in a line waiting for a container to be loaded in a hot country like Malaysia, is sitting there idling, creating CO2. In an electric vehicle, it's sitting there with the air conditioning on, using battery power, but very minimal battery power just to power the air conditioning unit. So you see that makes a very easy transition into electric. And then the shifts normally are aligned with charging infrastructure. So what we do is very quickly go in with our customers. We look at those examples and how we really stage their routes and how we look at optimal charging for them. So we may have a combination of both commercial charging infrastructure if it's available, or back to base charging infrastructure, which makes more sense for a lot of our customers at the moment, to take away that range anxiety and that infrastructure anxiety. But that's only one of the challenges. I think this is the other reason we're working very closely with MGTC and other authorities in the country here to really iron out these issues and make it easier for our customers to transition into electric as well.
Now, with your customers itself, and as you alluded to, Tony, earlier, the challenges, the needs, the wants of your fleet customers pretty much are the same globally, whether it's Australia, whether it's Malaysia. It's a cost, it's a maintenance, it is how much does it cost me to run a day, and all those basically cost metrics, cost to move a ton and so forth. Give us an idea of the investment involved in purchasing an EV and the long-term, perhaps, cost benefits.
Yeah, look, I think the first point is, what price do you put on sustainability and what price do you put on CO2 neutral for the future? And I think, that's a little bit of the mindset that we've seen with our first early adopter with Swift Logistics is, they want to be first out, they want to work with us, and they want to pave the way for this in the future. And again, this is a bigger purpose. I think it's a bigger purpose for us in Volvo. It's a bigger purpose for our customers as well. But at the end of the day, every truck has to make a profit. It's a business. At the end of the day, every prime mover is an individual P&L. It has to be profitable for the business. So we work very closely with our partners there. And what you see is the mindset that has to be taken is a long-term mindset. You have to look at total cost of ownership over a longer period or an equitable period to get the total cost benefit out of the vehicle. In a lot of cases, in certain segments, we see the energy usage, not so much litre of diesel or kilowatt hour, but the overall energy usage of an electric vehicle over a diesel vehicle can be 50% less from an actual energy consumption perspective. So if you start putting that into a total cost of ownership perspective, you see real benefits over a longer period. And that's a little bit, what we need to focus on. But that doesn't go away from the fact that the initial capital investment on an electric vehicle as opposed to a diesel vehicle can be 2.5 to 3 times higher.
Okay.
So you've still got to take that initial investment. And this is also then why it's so important for us to work with the local authorities with incentives and how we sort of make that work really well for our customers. And that's the reason that we're working so closely with Swift and with others here in Malaysia to make sure that we have those green incentives that are available, whether that be through financing, whether that be through CO2 reduction plans or decarbonisation, that actually assist that total cost of ownership model for your new electric vehicles on the road.
I want to shift back to Johan now. Johan, cost is a big issue, obviously, in terms of running fleets. One of the big cost savers will be in the future as if we move the human out of the equation as the driver. Now, what are Volvo Trucks' plans in terms of autonomous vehicles? Because all the studies show that I think the first big adopters would be literally the fleet business.
Well, I mean, we're having our own business area, which is called Volvo Autonomous Solutions, and obviously it's an important part. But I would like to take away like rumors or everything that's saying that then every driver will be out of a job. A driver will play a significant role for how long ever we can see in the future as part of transportation. Then automation can show a good purpose in certain segments and certain types of transports. Right now, we are mainly into 3 areas, you could say, which is, call it more than confined areas like mines or repetitive transport in mines and so on, where we already now, in certain cases, can show to have a driverless back-to-back transports. And then also tests on what is called hub to hub on highway, also going from one point to the other, basically on one certain highway stretch, but with no other. That would would be on public transports, but still on a sense of controlled way, and a little bit earlier test phase. And then the third part is more, call it port related. It could be not in the port as such. Normally other equipment carries that out, but from the port and to, for instance, a logistic warehouse or something like that, partly into public areas. Then we're talking about very repetitive, fixed road kind of transport and so on. And that is where you would see that evolves. I mean, it's a global driver shortage today, we should see. So we really, and the driver occupation and competence is of vital importance. So we want and need to use them even more for the, call it, logistic part of being a driver, and driving economically well, planning the transport and whatever. And the simpler, very repetitive transports could be, and we are still quite some years before that, I would say, be partly replaced by autonomous, but no way near taking away the need for the drivers. I think it's more and more important, actually, even with new technologies as EV. Just a final comment on that. We would say that comparing with diesel, a professional driver can actually impact the energy consumption on an EV truck with significantly more, actually. So he can have the impact from maybe plus minus 20%, actually, in a pure
That's
energy.
a huge number.
On the driving pattern, you could say. So we are in even more need of good drivers than ever before, I would actually say.
Gentlemen, it's been a fascinating conversation. I've really learned a lot. It's just opened my eyes to different things. But before we leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with? And I want to start with you, Tony.
Look, I think for us here in Malaysia, I'm immensely proud of, I think, the country, the support we receive from all of the public affairs, and also the team here at Volvo Trucks Malaysia, and our customer base to be first out with heavy-duty EV trucks in this region. I think it's a testament to the true ambition that we have for net zero in this region from an emissions point of view. And I'd also say it goes hand in hand with our safety core value, where they're also speccing the vehicles in the safest possible manner, which is, truly exciting. So I think this is the first step for a very exciting future for us in this new transformational world. I think, we'll certainly be working together a lot more with, in a collaborative manner, to really reshape the industry here in Malaysia for the future, not only with EV, but other technologies as well.
Johan, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to thank you, of course, for this discussion. And with these two trucks, now we will put on the roads together with our customer in Malaysia, will be the first heavy-duty electric trucks on the roads in Southeast Asia. So it will be really a proud moment, and also a step forward and a game changer on a big and important journey for us here. The choices we make today on this is also actually what determines our future, and we see no other way. So we will this will be our business in the future, but also together with other less CO2 emitting technologies. So thank you very much.
Johan, Anthony, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
We've been speaking to Johan Selvén. He's the VP Sales and Marketing for Volvo Trucks International, and Anthony O'Connell, the Managing Director for Volvo Trucks Malaysia at Volvo Group. I'm Brian Fernandez, and you've been watching and listening to BizTechs Technology Show. This interview will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our TV syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.